what it means to be an American. America is freedom, and freedom is special and rare.
We, the people of this great nation.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
We, the people of this great nation.
Good morning, my fellow patriots. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I hope you spent a lot of time with your significant other, and if you don't have a significant other, I hope you got laid. I hope you found love out there somewhere through all this havoc and craziness we're living in. But that being said, you guys can also be happy this morning. Happy, one, because it's President's Day and we should be proud of all the presidents in this country. Not just that, it's a day you probably don't have to work. If you work for a solid company, they probably don't have you working today. And 3, which is the best part, Hollywood's going crazy. Apparently every single Hollywood elite is upset and calling off on all the Republicans, calling them traitors, calling them everything. Let me tell you something. Whenever you have all of Hollywood calling you a traitor and saying you did the wrong thing, you most likely did the right thing. So the last people you want to please is anybody that lives in that little bubble in Hollywood, because they have no connection whatsoever with the American people. None. They lost it a long time ago. They lost it when they became famous and became millionaires and started believing they were above everyone else. So Alyssa Milano, Michael Rappaport, all you guys, swallow your tears. You guys won the election. We just happened to win the impeachment trial twice. Not once, but twice. Only president to win an impeachment. Only president to win an impeachment twice. Only president to be impeached twice. So Trump continues to make history even after he leaves office. Now, I don't do it on the weekends. My show's Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I couldn't talk to you about. I'm going to break down first what led to what happened on Saturday. So on Friday, Trump's legal team destroyed the Democrats, proved that their case was like no case whatsoever. Everything that they used against Trump, they've done themselves. Typical thing that we've spoken about on this show. You know, the whole reflection thing and how they always deflect whatever they're doing onto somebody else. So that was exposed. That was not the only thing that was exposed. They also exposed the fact that they committed fraud. They literally tampered and changed evidence. And apparently the mainstream media doesn't think it's that big of a deal to change a date of a tweet. Kind of odd, don't you think? Kind of like, I mean, if you're playing with evidence, no matter how small it is, no matter if it's a small check mark in a Twitter account, whether the Twitter account is validated or not, yeah, that's a pretty big deal when you're impeaching a former president of the United States. Just saying. Either way, showed how ridiculous they were, showed how hateful and the vendetta and the hate that they had for Donald J. Trump. They put it out there. And of course, you know, Saturday came along. The 7 rhinos voted. Never forget Sas. I don't even care about the name of the she's not even the real fucking senator of Alaska, but the Alaskan senator, of course, Mitt Romney joined in there too. Apparently they're taking heat from their constituents for voting against Trump. Apparently these people don't realize the movement that Trump has created. Trump has finally made Americans feel like they have somebody that is willing to put their voice out there. And these 7 senators, and don't be fooled, Mitch McConnell's one of them. He just voted in the best interest of the party. The reason that he didn't vote to impeach Trump is because he knew that the consequences would probably cost them the Senate in 2 years. Any chance of regaining the Senate. So that all occurred. And then, you know, we have everybody upset. Everybody's mad. Everybody's going crazy. And that's just the way I love it. I love seeing the left acting like a bunch of crybabies because that's exactly what they are. Now, on other personal news, and I'm gonna play this out loud because this is just intense. So I had a tenant that lived in one of my properties, right? I swear to you, I thought it was over. At this moment in my life, I swear to you, I was like, okay, the deep state is coming after me. I'm fucked. I defended Trump too much. I'm one of the guys that's gonna go down. I mean, I didn't realize it was about one of my tenants at first. Like just when I heard, I like blanked out, and I just heard this. Imagine receiving a voicemail like this.
Hi, I'm trying to reach Mr. or Mrs. Rodriguez.
Okay.
My name's Candace O'Neill. I'm a special investigator retained by the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency. I'm looking at a back.
Imagine hearing that. Let me repeat that to you. Okay. They left it.
I'm trying to reach Mr. or Mrs. Rodriguez. My name's Candace O'Neill. I'm a special investigator retained by the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency.
Imagine getting a voicemail like that. Okay. Imagine getting a voicemail like that. The first thing I started thinking was, oh shit, I fucked up and I said something I should not have said on my podcast. And I was like, I'm going down. But nothing happened. And I did not go down. It was in reference to a tenant of mine that I had. And apparently he's getting a high clearance job, which I'm proud of him. He's apparently working for the military, and he's going to be, and they wanted me to vet him out. So, yeah, that was interesting. So, without any further ado, I introduce the one, the only Dr. Q. What's up, Q?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Listen, we have put some Q. We have put some Q merchandise. Q does not approve. He has told me this. But of course, Q doesn't have web designers. He doesn't have graphic designers. So I'm doing all the work myself. So I did put out a Dr. Q shirt. You guys can let me know what you think. Because if it sells, then I know it's doing a good job. If it doesn't sell, then I know it's not doing a good job. Guess that's probably the best way to figure out whether it's a cool shirt or not. Q, what was your late breaking news? All the stuff you were telling me that you had something that was going to leave me, that was going to take my breath away.
Well, everything I say to you anyway, you don't believe anyway. You know, you.
That is
You know,
correct.
you just push it out, right? So it doesn't matter what I say.
That is 100% correct. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Do you feel homeless in today's American political world? Not really into either candidate or party? Guess what? You're not alone. Join me and others just like you across this great country for a discussion of politics from a viewpoint that you can't find in today's media. The Middle. I'm your host, Brian Grozier, and I invite you to join in on the discussion by downloading and listening to the Middle American Podcast.
Well, I mean, one thing. Remember we were talking about the other day about you heard something like Lynn was talking about Pence being a traitor, this and that.
Yes, I did. And that was on mainstream media. That wasn't,
Right. Well, I heard that Pence and Kelly actually tried to take out Donald Trump.
that Mike Pence and who? And Kellyanne Conway?
No, what's his name? The one that got fired. Trump fired. The general, or what's his name?
Mattis?
No, his last name's Kelly.
General Ke-
I forget his name. Old guy. He was
They're
part
all
of the,
fucking old, bro. In order to be generals at that level, you got to be fucking 100 years old. Fuck would I know?
I forget his first name, but anyway, yeah, I heard in 2018 they tried to get him to resign and try to kill him.
Interesting. Well, yeah, that probably didn't happen, guys. But it's always fun to hear Dr. Q's crazy conspiracy theories.
I disagree.
Mm.
So,
It's obvious you disagree. You always disagree on your own conspiracy theories. When is that not a surprise?
Roberts has pedophilia behind him 100%. He's definitely a pedophile. And
Who?
he also has Roberts.
Okay,
Like
Chief Roberts you're talking about.
Yeah. And he also had something to do with Scalia's death.
Who? Are you talking about he had something to do with the other Supreme Court justice's dad?
Yep.
Died of a heart attack, man. He was overweight.
What do you mean? They found him dead with a pillow over his head.
That's not how they found him. He had a heart attack, bro. He wasn't feeling well. His wife said he wasn't feeling well. He went into the bed, and he died of a heart attack.
I don't know what you're hearing, what you looked at. Cause,
I'm looking at the facts when it was reported.
Nah, he was found with a pillow over his head.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Supreme Court justice that passed away, that was good friends with RGB?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a negative. That's not the way he died.
Okay, well.
Again, this is kind of like the Mike Lindell video that you never watched. You're talking out of your ass. You really never watched the news. You really never even knew what happened with him.
Again. Anyway, so Roberts, he illegally adopted these two kids, and it was to get into the Satanism cabal, and basically that's for his membership. And I heard he's been, sexually abusing these kids for a long time. They're actually kids that are structured for that type of abuse, because these kids are born for that, believe it or not. With the cabal, that's what they do. They actually have kids, just like the Hollywood stars do. They have kids just for that, where they send them to, people, they pay for them, to basically sexually abuse them and use them for that. And they're just like bred into that type of life.
That's look, without a doubt, I believe there's sick people out there. We have seen numerous rings getting taken down of pedophilia. It does happen a lot in this country. Trafficking of kids does happen. I don't know if I'll take it as far as Q. I mean, I would have to see evidence. I have researched and I have looked into it. There has been a lot of rings that have been taken down, but nothing that connects to any prominent figure.
You're crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm following the facts. You're following a fantasy.
Guess who was doing most of the raping under the Clintons?
Let me guess. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton?
Hillary.
Of course, you were going to say something stupid like that.
She was doing the pedophilia shit, and she was all over the women. She was a freaking lesbian.
Well, I mean, there was rumors that her and Yoko had a little thing.
Oh, no. She was forcing herself on women that did not want to,
Okay, well, listen. I'm going to jump in to the first listener. Okay? This is, he says his name. How are you, Jason, Dr. Q? We're doing great. How are you, Dr. Q?
Great.
Okay, my name is Busy. I'm from the shit state of New Jersey. I'm not one to follow conspiracies, but there is a few things I read on viable sources that led me to believe that the attack on the Capitol was in fact allowed by the Democrats. I do agree with that. I think they knew it ahead of time and they took advantage of the situation, just so you know. During the years, the Democrats are trying to make Washington, D.C. a state. What better push for statehood than allowing the supporters of their greatest enemy to assault the Capitol building? While the House, Senate, and presidency are controlled by them, they can twist the story to promote that statehood is necessary by saying that the deployment of National Guard was delayed and that making D.C. state would urgently speed up the needed reinforcements that Trump denied. Quotation, I'm sure he didn't deny the National Guard. Colon, and he closed it off. Since it was the first attack since the British burned it down, their agenda would revolve around never allowing this kind of thing to happen again. Well, well, it wasn't the first attack. There has been attacks in the Capitol building. An insurrection, a direct insurrection, as they're calling it, like this, yeah, since the Brits. So did you guys believe that this was one of the many reasons they weren't prepared for the attack? To me, it seems like it's a very valid reason, since making DC a state would dramatically increase their chances of winning elections. Very curious of what the two of you think about this. Thank you all for the great podcast, and I wish you Patriots the best in everything. Yours truly, Busy. I'll go first, and then I'll let Q take over. Busy, I do think they knew ahead of time. I think that Nancy Pelosi knew ahead of time. That's why most of the main people were not there. That's why AOC wasn't there. That's why a lot of them weren't there. I think this was a plot. I think they knew. I mean, look, we have the best intelligence agencies in the world. If people are talking amongst Parler, or if people are plotting,
I'm losing you big time.
I don't know how you're losing me. But if people on Parler and people are communicating amongst these platforms, we have the best intel and agencies that exist in by far from any other country. Yeah, they would have picked up on this. There's now evidence knowing that this was pre-planned. They know that the pipe bombs were placed there prior to Donald Trump speaking. I think they knew a lot of Trump supporters were going to go out there. And I think that this was the perfect place and the perfect time. I think the timing was impeccable for them. I think that they knew something was going to happen because people were upset for many reasons, not just because this election was rigged, because I sincerely believe this election was rigged. It's never going to change my mind. Joe Biden is an illegitimate president in my eyes. But yes, I think there are a bunch of opportunists, and they, just like they utilized COVID to steal this election, they utilized the Capitol takeover. I don't know if it's so much to create DC as a state or more as in pushing this hoax, obviously, this ridiculous unconstitutional impeachment, which we already saw the end result and how pissed Nancy is. I don't think they did it for those reasons, though. I think they did it more to make sure, to try to stomp on the 75 million people that voted for Trump and to try to kill the America First agenda. Q?
Yeah, I agree, that it was set up, and I think it was just more involved. I think he was involved with Republicans too. I think maybe Pence. I think definitely Pelosi. I think there's numerous bad actors involved on both parties. I think this whole thing was complete setup, in every aspect. I mean, that's all I can really say about it.
Okay. So we have another, again, guys, I'm always going to be your voice. I don't care how many emails and how long it takes me to get through all these things. I will be your voice and I will always speak on your behalf. Okay, so this is from Luke. The one thing I hate more than anything is pedophilia. I also will look at the people differently if they do that to little kids. Like, imagine your kid came home crying and said that this guy did something inappropriate to me. It would break my heart if I had kids. I would also like to hear your thought more about child abuse and pedophiles. Also, one more topic I was talking to someone at school about BLM, and he says blacks go through more because cops kill blacks all because of hairbrush. I responded saying they don't know it was a brush because I did my research and it said someone called and said this person had a gun. So I'm talking about how cops don't want to die, and if someone you think has a gun pulls out something and kills a person, I don't think it's the cop's fault as much as, yeah, maybe could have been handled differently, but I would shoot too if I had someone pull a gun on me. Okay, that's all I wanted to say, but sorry. You get death threats or people telling you you're stupid because you're not. Don't let them get you. Have a good day. Well, I'll go first again on this one. Pedophilia, that is the most disgusting and most utter thing on this planet. You are taking advantage of a kid or a child that is innocent. Their mind is clean of all negativity. Their mind doesn't have any of this disgusting and sinful thought in their mind and their thought process. They're just trying to be happy, play, have fun. And when you take that innocence away from that child, you are a piece of shit. A person that's attracted to a kid should be put away and never seen ever again. I would go as far as to say that I agree with the fact that they should castrate them. This has already been proven through several different programs, such as one I can say is a STOMP program that's in the federal prison system. It is a program that is designed to try to change the way pedophiles act. Does not work. And coincidentally, the guy that created the program was Bill Clinton. So, and put it into the federal prison system. So again, I despise them. I'm disgusted by them. And you see the treatment they get in prison. You always see a story on a prisoner that murdered 2 pedophiles, or you hear the stories. Nobody on this planet can imagine or fathom how horrible that is. And if that was to happen to one of my kids, I don't know how I would react. And I agree with you 100% on that. As for the BLM argument, listen, the reality is there's more interaction amongst police officers with the black community than there is with the white community. That being said is because they live in poverty. And living in poverty creates more crime, which in return creates more policing. Those neighborhoods need policing because if they don't have the policing, then innocent people die. Can give you a perfect example, Chicago. Now, do not let anyone tell you that black people are being killed every single day by police officers. This is a hoax. This is BS that's been created by the left, and it is false. If you look at stats in the DOJ websites, comparing the between the amount of interactions police officers have with the black community and the amount of times that a black individual gets killed by a cop is a lot less than a cop getting killed by a black person. So, what should Black Lives Matter be focusing on? Focus on black crime, because that is the real issue we have in this country. Gangs killing innocent people through drive-by shootings. We hear about it we've gotten so used to hearing about young people dying in Chicago, young kids getting shot while they're at home playing a video game and they get shot through a window, through a drive-by shooting. No one cares. But when it's a white police officer that shoots a black man, then everyone cares. And this goes back to the whole situation. And I'm not going to bring up George Floyd because George Floyd, the officer, took it to another level. He should never have been there, but I blame the Democrat, Amy Klobuchar, who should not have had that police officer patrolling the city of Minneapolis. But nevertheless, I'll go to another case, the case in Georgia. The case in Georgia where it happened in Wendy's, where a black man resisted arrest. It's on camera. He went for the man's taser. He took the police officer's taser, pointed the taser, and got shot. Apparently that police officer's facing charges from the same prosecutor that said that tasers should not be used against people because they are deadly. But when used against a cop, now that same prosecutor's changing his story and saying it's not that deadly for them to have shot the police officer. Now look at it from a different perspective. Man tases the police officer goes down. Police officer's not capable of pulling his gun because he's incapable of it because he's been tased. Grabs his gun, shoots the cop. I'm sorry, the police officers in this country defend and protect our freedom. Without law and order, there is no freedom. The freedom that we have in this country is because of those men in blue that protect those freedoms from those who want to take it away from us. And this is the major issue that we're having in this country, this war on police. Yes, there's bad police officers out there, but not a lot. Not a lot. Not what the media is making you think. There's a lot of good cops out there. There's a lot of bad lawyers. There's a lot of good lawyers. Majority of lawyers are bad. There's a lot of good doctors. There's bad doctors. There's bad of everything. Okay, that is life. That is people. It has nothing to do with skin color. Yes, does the black community have the shorter end of the stick? Yes, they live in poverty. So yes, a lot of those areas are more, there's more. But you can also blame the system. You can blame the Democratic Party. You can blame the Democrats for offering welfare, for example, taking out the father out of the picture. There's been studies that have shown that when a father's not in the family picture, the child has more tendencies of committing crimes and ending up in prison. If not, just look at the quote from Denzel Washington on two of his friends. All three of them used to hang out as childhood friends. Two of them are in prison. He is a famous actor. The only difference, he had his father in the household. Again, coming straight out of the mouth of an African-American man. I can only tell you the numbers are completely wrong. There's cities that are begging. They're begging to have back policing. Okay? I mean, this has been such, look, Minneapolis, I'll give you a perfect example. The city that wanted to defund. Now the city council voted on Friday unanimously to approve, okay? To approve. This is the city that started all this, okay? Let's remember, this was the city of George Floyd where everything occurred. They unanimously approved $6.4 million in additional funding for the police department. A little too late when the crime rate has skyrocketed in that city. You already destroyed the morale of the police officers. You allowed a police precinct to be burned down, which makes vigilantes and criminals think they can get away with anything. A bit too late. Q? Q? I lost Q. What? How in the world did that even happen?
Your call has been forwarded.
Q's calling back. That's what's happening right now, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I mean, these cities have completely collapsed. Every one of these cities have completely collapsed. And the only people you can blame are the city officials. All right, Q, I lost you there.
Yeah. I hope it's not on your audio because I couldn't hear you for a little bit. You know, you're going in and out, so I hope it's not, on the podcast.
No. Remember, your audio comes in, but my audio's directly through a mic. So yeah, mine doesn't get affected. So go ahead. What's your response to that?
All right. So yes, the pedophilia thing is the most disgusting in the world. It makes me honestly like because I do such research and when I see the stuff that I see and the videos and the kids talking, it's so sad. And I don't have any kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and the things that I hear and see, I hope you guys never see it, but you're going to have to because you have to see what's really going on. It's just so horrible. It's something that you can't even imagine in the world of movies or anything. It's the most horrendous, horrific shit that these top elites, actors, actresses, freaking anybody that's famous are involved.
It's not just famous people. There's a lot of sick people out there. Me and we saw a lot of them firsthand. But
this is not just normal everyday citizens. I'm not saying it's not. There is definitely probably a decent 20% or something, but the rest is the elites. The ones that are in the media, all day, every day. Just anybody that's well known. Let's just put it like that. Most likely, very few that aren't. But anyway, the good thing about Trump with this whole pedophilia stuff is he actually utilized the whole Corona thing against the Democrats without them realizing to save these kids. the whole. Well, I think it was last year. In New York, the park. What's the park called? What's that park in New York? Jay?
Which I mean,
Main park in New York.
Now you gave me a fucking brain fart.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I can't believe it. This is like you didn't give me these questions before I even started the podcast, so I would have had all my information ready. But let me come up with
Central Park.
Sure.
Central Park.
Huh?
Central Park. I just remembered. It's Central Park. Go ahead.
Central Park. All under it is tunnels they call dumbs, and that's where all these kids were. And I mean, sexually abused, satanic, rituals, like just. And the thing is, these kids, they were down there for. They're saying that kids were down there for decades.
Where do you get this shit? Like, where do you get this shit?
Listen, can you just listen to me? So what was happening is they were bringing them up, and they were instantly dying. Like literally instantly dying because they couldn't take the sun because they were down there for so long.
Oh my god!
And they had these tents. That's why FEMA was out. Everybody's worried about FEMA. FEMA was out to protect these kids. Number one, to make these tents, these big white tents in Central Park, and try to save these kids. That's why Donald Trump had so many ventilators taken to different countries. It's because they were saving these kids and everywhere. All these dumbs, which are huge tunnels, sometimes they're like hundreds of miles, thousands of miles deep in underground. So that's my point. Is that,
where do you get this though?
Trump took advantage of it and actually saved these kids through the corona. So that was something that's just man, just remarkable, So when it comes to what was the other question?
The other question is in reference to police violence on blacks.
So I could have sworn I saw from WikiLeaks. I can't find it now because I'm not prepared because I wasn't expecting this question. But I'm pretty sure that George Bush actually had an agenda in regards to against whites. So it was an NWO, New World Order agenda to make sure everybody's against whites and try to basically get rid of the white race. Even though you're talking about killing blacks and cops, it's actually the opposite without realizing it. It's basically trying to get everybody against any kind of authority, and they're not killing blacks the way you think it is. It's just that anytime there's something done that has to do with a black and being killed by a cop, it's known all over the damn all over the world, because media is completely impartial. They're for an agenda, and they're trying to just keep their agenda, which is basically just give you horrible news and everything against Trump, and that's what they do. So no matter what, you're never going to find the truth out, and you just have to wait until the real facts come out. It's sad, but there is not systemic racism at all. I mean, at all. I'm not saying there's no racism here and there, but systemic, no way, no how. That is an agenda, and that's all it is.
Okay. So this is going to be another question, and then we're going to jump to a topic. Okay, so this one's long. So this one's real long. Okay, so this is from Rob. I don't give out most people's information, so this is Rob. Rob knows who it is. So Rob sent, "You guys are hysterical. You remind me of the Honeymooners. The way you bicker with Jase, I think you two have a serious talent, and your show could reach millions more if you consider mixing in more current events and less politics. Jase has a great voice and an awesome laugh. He reminds me so much of Ricky Ricardo from I Love Lucy. I'll tell you why. Ricky Ricardo was actually Cuban. So we have the same accent, believe it or not. I listen to it at least twice a day. Jase butchers the English language, but in a charming way. Very entertaining. Yes, I do butcher the English language all the time. Reason so is because, believe it or not, I was born in this country, but my first language was Spanish because my family were immigrants. So I learned Spanish first, and then when I got into school, I learned English. So it should have been the other way around. But coming from parents that were immigrants in this country, that's my first language. Every saying, like down to the grapevine, etc. Love it. The show should be called That Being Said. Dr. Q and the way he floors you, Jase, with his wacky nonsense and the theories leave you speechless. You can cut the frustration with a knife. It's the best. Okay, I want Jase's opinion. If it is possible, is it possible that Biden won legitimately due to these facts? Overwhelming black vote due to black vice president running with Biden. Overwhelming black vote due to former President Barack Obama, his vice president running for president now. The overwhelming lack of leadership that Donald Trump displayed from day one in handling the coronavirus and the way he downplayed the severity of the virus. Thousands of people have lost loved ones in the worst possible scenario where they couldn't even be with them in their final moments. Don't you think that could have swayed people to vote the opposite way? Number 4, overwhelming minority support to elect anyone but Donald Trump because of the way he sort of views immigrants and people from outside of the country, Hispanics, Asians, etc. I'm going to start with that one. Actually, Trump actually surpassed the number of any Republican in office to win the black and minority vote. That's a fact. They actually had pollsters, and he did overwhelmingly higher than any Republican president. And they did one just specific in Cleveland on his black votes, and he had more votes from minorities and blacks than anyone else, than any other Republican. The third question, lack of leadership. I think Donald Trump handled the virus perfectly. In my opinion, there was no way of controlling a pandemic better than the way he controlled it. He acted quick. He put a travel ban, which, let's not forget, was considered xenophobe by Joe Biden. He did a travel ban immediately. He followed the CDC guidelines and realized, let me explain to you something about science and running a country. Science doesn't dictate the way you run a country. You have to think about the well-being of other Americans, and you have to factor in a lot of different things. A 98% survival rate on a virus means that you cannot shut down a country on a 98% survival rate. There is other diseases that have and viruses that have a much less survival rate than this. Yes, it was very contagious, but if we're going to go start blaming Donald Trump, then let's go ahead and also indict Andrew Cuomo for lying, Andrew Cuomo for putting patients that were sick, recovering from COVID-19 into nursing homes. Furthermore, Donald Trump gave every state, every single one of these states, he gave them their own power to do it as they saw fit. He was just providing federal aid. And as it was stated by Gavin Newsom and both Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo, Donald Trump provided enough ventilators and everything that they required. They even had a ship that was completely empty, and Andrew Cuomo decided instead to send them into what? Nursing homes, and got those people sick. And now he's getting a lot of backlash for it. All those celebrities that defended him, and he even won an Emmy for it. Of course, he was best actor in a horror film. So to answer your question, yeah, a lot of people lost a lot of loved ones. You're right. Unfortunately, Donald Trump, as much as everybody wants to blame him, he did not create the pandemic. The pandemic came over here. It was created in China, came from China. Viruses come from all over the place, all over the world. He handled it to the best of his ability. And I take you back to Obama's era, where his own staff said that they handled the H1N1, the swine flu, completely and utterly wrong. And they just got lucky that it wasn't as deadly as this. So that being said, if you look at Trump's track record, when you're a leader of a country, you have to think of what's in the best interest of the country in a whole. You can't let science dictate the economy, the entire country, and people's livelihoods. Let's start thinking about alcohol abuse, suicide rates. Let's start thinking about all the effects that these lockdowns have created in people's lives. That we'll soon know those numbers. Okay, we'll soon know those numbers, and let me tell you, we're gonna have a lot more people that are gonna be depressed, a lot more suicidal people. We're gonna have a lot more people that are gonna be addicted to drugs because of these lockdowns, and people that have lost their businesses because of these crazy lockdowns. So what is the game plan? What is Joe Biden's leadership showing us right now? What is, and I've got to put it because I love this song.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
So what has Joe Biden really done? He wants to lock down Florida, so now he's in a battle between Governor DeSantis. We all know Governor DeSantis, the death rate has gone down. The economy is booming. People are moving to Florida, and he's been doing it the right way. Apparently, and he's been doing it the Donald Trump way. So apparently, the Donald Trump way is the way it works. How many people have died right now under Joe Biden's watch? More than 80,000. So guess what? No matter who was in office, would not have made a difference. On the opposite, he created Operation Warp Speed, got a vaccine done. Whether the vaccine is dangerous or not, I can't decide. I'm not going to take the vaccine personally. But the fact that we were able to create a vaccine that fast, historical time, President Trump should get a lot of credit for that. Now, how effective it is and all those details, that's on science. But the fact that he was able to put his business mindset into that and was able to push something so fast, things that take usually 4 to 8 years, he got it done in under a year, and everybody said it would be a miracle if that would happen. Well, guess what? Trump must be a miracle man, because he made it happen. Number 2, overwhelming black vote due to former President Obama and his vice president. Okay, the reason Donald J. Trump got elected was because everybody was disappointed with Barack Obama. So contrary to what people think, black voters don't usually go out to vote. That's a fact. That's why Democrats are constantly go vote. And you see them pushing the go vote narrative because they usually don't go out and vote. The only reason they won the election was because there was fraud involved. Very simple. And I'm going to explain it in question number 2. But yeah, Barack Obama, the reason Trump was originally elected is because everybody wanted the opposite of whatever Barack Obama was. There is no way a man sitting in a bunker, not talking to anybody, a known racist, not by my standards, by his own standards, just by what he has said in recent events, to dating back to his early years in the Senate. Overwhelming black vote due to vice president running with Biden. Well, that's kind of it's kind of the same thing. I don't think that played a part. Barack Obama didn't even endorse him to like. He wouldn't even. Barack Obama told him not even to run in 2016. So obviously Obama, they had something in play here. They knew something was going to happen because Obama wasn't with Joe Biden running to begin with in 2016, which is the common thing to happen. The VP usually runs for president after the president's done with his time in the White House. And Joe Biden didn't do that. So, and number 1, overwhelming black vote due to black vice president. Number 2, no. Well, I think that's pretty much. And okay, and I'm going to tell you why I don't believe he won legitimately. And I've said this a million times, but I'll go ahead and I'll say it again. Let's go to history, because history never fails. There has not been a president to win an election, a sitting president to lose an election in over 150 years, gaining more votes than what he originally gained when he ran for president. Donald Trump got 11 million more votes than he got when he ran against Hillary. Barack Obama won 800 and something counties. Joe Biden won 400 and something counties. Donald Trump won 18 out of the 19 bellwether state counties that usually predict every single election. Apparently, Joe Biden is a miracle worker as well, and he managed to also stop that traditional voting that people usually use to dictate who's going to be president. The last president to win Iowa, Florida, and Ohio was Richard Nixon, and not win the presidency. So it's almost literally impossible that he had broken every single one of these things, not to mention the flaws within the Dominion machines that we already know, the witnesses, the affidavits, and we already know affidavits come in handy when the Democrats are running impeachment trials. Witnesses apparently are important when they're running an impeachment trial, but when it comes to election integrity, they're not important. We all know Donald J. Trump won the election. The crowd said it. Joe Biden had no support. And yes, there's a lot of people that hate Trump, but there's a lot of people that love him too. And they're willing to wait in the rain, in the cold, in whatever weather just to see the man speak. So yeah, do I think there's any possibility Joe Biden won this election? Absolutely not. There's nothing in this world. I've spoken to people in the military. I've spoken to anybody who has told me mathematically it's improbable, practically impossible. Mathematically, I mean, it's just the numbers don't even match. I'm sorry. It didn't happen. It did happen, but it didn't happen. It was robbed. It was a rigged election. All right, so, and then you go on to say, just some of the things I think about in terms of how you always saying that the election was stolen. I believe there's absolutely fraud, but I believe there's fraud on both sides of the aisle. I believe there was fraud when Hillary lost to Trump, and I do believe that there's no one overwhelming side that would rig the election. I really do firmly believe that Trump, although great at doing certain things as president, certainly ended up dividing this country through his tweets, through his words that offended many different people of Asian descent because of the coronavirus, words that offended Mexicans, with him wanting to put up walls, the rapists and drug dealers out of this country, and finally the blacks, and in the way that there's so many ugly things evolved in the last couple of years between law enforcement and blacks under his team. First and foremost, you're wrong there again. BLM, established in 2013. The issue with policing and the Black Lives Matter movement happened way before Donald Trump even came into the office. And to blame Donald Trump for the division of this country is just ridiculous, because he's done quite the opposite. You know who's dividing this country? The mainstream media, the Democrats. You know how much negative, more than any sitting president in history, Donald Trump in his first 100 days got 93% negative news on mainstream media. That means out of everything everything they were talking about him, 93% of it was negative. He never stood a chance coming in. And yeah, I do think both sides do rig the elections. I just think the left does it a lot better. And I think they wanted Trump out so bad that they were willing to go as far as humanly possible to get him out there. We've never had situations like this where it takes weeks to get election results, where we literally found out about 2 weeks ago who won a New York congressional race. Does that seem normal to you? We've always gotten the results that same night. Kind of odd, right? I don't know. Mail-in ballots being easier than going in person to vote? That seems a little fishy, right? Just saying. Trump never divided this country. Putting a wall across the border, yeah, that's called border security. That's making it easier for us to protect our borders. A country with no borders is not a country. And if not, just ask the Vatican that has a wall all over the entire Vatican. They have a wall. The southern portion of Mexico, they have fencing. What do you think? Mexico doesn't have their own walls as well? Yeah. All the presidents prior to Donald J. Trump, they all believed in securing the borders and putting fences to block off immigration from coming in. The only difference is that Donald Trump actually did it and built something that would actually prevent people from coming in. Not a little fence. It's very easy to say that the election is lost due to election fraud, but at the same time, Trump is undermining democracy instead of maybe possibly looking at why so many people came out of the woodwork to try to get rid of him. Maybe they had enough. The virus, the violence, and constant racial attacks. The only racial attacks come from the left, just so you know. Donald Trump has never said anything racial. He's never attacked any race at all. The only ones that call him a racist is the left. I know minority and black employment was on an all-time high, and that goes hand in hand with good economic times, but I think that Trump did more to hurt his reelection by playing it so carelessly. He had a really good potential, and I personally voted for him, but I think my heart was broken by watching the handling of the coronavirus and lack of leadership coming from his administration. Again, I would advise you to do a little more research. He was the president of the United States, I understand. But the states, we have local governments in this country. The states were handling it was on a state-by-state case. He was giving the states what they needed, what they were requiring and requesting, and he was giving them guidelines based on Dr. Fauci. Now, that being said, what's changed with Joe Biden? Nothing. And he has a vaccine in his hands, created by Donald J. Trump's Operation Warp Speed. And whether we want to admit it or not, what happened in the Capitol sealed his fate and ever becoming president again. It shouldn't be downplayed, Jase. Unfortunately, you sent me this email before he got vindicated, my friend. Not guilty. So yeah, that's not going to happen. He can run for president again. So, but by the time I get to this email, you'll see it. So, Trump seems to be more of a super low-class, rich white dude with very little morals or ethics and a gigantic ego. Yes, he does have a gigantic ego. If not, just look at his roast on Comedy Central. They talk about it. As a matter of fact, you should really look at him getting roasted on Comedy Central because it would make you realize how much times have changed from now and then and who his friends were at that time and now. So, so this is a very long. I personally think that you guys just forget about Trump as a conservative and try to find somebody who's an actual conservative, not a casino tax evader. I'm not sure. Okay, so I don't know why you voted for Trump because it seems like you don't like Trump by this email. It's apparent to me that you're just attacking. I mean, you're politely attacking everything Trump has done. So it's hard for me to believe that you even voted for Trump, to be perfectly honest with you. That being said, if you're going to talk about corruption, let's talk about the Joe Biden crime family, because that is the most corrupt family there is on this fucking planet. What, Hillary Clinton? She was a better option? The Clinton crime family? Yeah, that's a much better option. Yeah, I'll go with Trump that actually provided results and gave Americans a better life and looked at America as a whole instead of looking at it by race or gender or breaking it down into subcategories. He looked at the country as one country and he put Americans first. So, have you ever thought about calling the podcast? Yeah, I can't read through all this because this is a lot. This is a lot. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to change my show. I will include other topics on my show. But that being said, I am a Republican. I am a proud Republican. I'm a proud Trump supporter. You did not vote for Trump. There's no way, based on what I'm reading in this email, there's no way you voted for Trump. You may say you have voted for Trump, but you didn't vote for Trump. This is obvious that you're trying to, in your own way, trying to you're almost trying to downplay Trump, and you're trying to criticize Trump through a positive email. It's not working, bud. I give everybody a voice. I don't care where you stand. I mean, it's just a really long email, and there's other topics we want to jump to. But that being said, hey, listen, you have your opinion. I have mine. You're wrong, though. I mean, my opinion's right. Just saying. Trump did do a great job. Whether you like him or hate him, whether he has a big ego, I don't care. I didn't vote for him for that. I voted for what's in the best interest of my family and this country. That's what I vote on. I don't vote based on feelings or tweets. I don't vote based on rumors that the left creates. Let me ask you a question. The FBI investigated him. $40 million spent. You think they didn't check his tax records? You think they would not have tried to impeach him on tax evasion? Yeah, they had nothing. This was all created by the mainstream media. You guys are still buying it. It's the problem with the left. You continuously keep buying it. And you'll continue buying it. Yeah, no, Trump won this election. It was a rigged election. But yes, Joe Biden is president right now. Fine. You guys can enjoy, as I say,
I came in like a wrecking ball.
Joe Biden. Because again, apparently, Donald
John Trump incited the election.
I love you too, but you're not my type.
Apparently, he incited an erection in you, and apparently, you weren't his type. So that's fine. It's okay. It's okay to be on the left side. It's okay to try to criticize Trump all the way through. But reality check. Sorry that you were a little bit late on your email. Yeah, he can run for president again because he won the impeachment case. And now you better be careful in 2 years. If we take back the Senate and the House, we don't try to impeach Kamala Harris for the exact same thing. She was inciting violence throughout the whole entire summer. Just food for thought. Q.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what do you think? You think this guy's a lefty or what?
Oh, 100%.
I think this young man's I think he's a lefty. I think he threw in those little positive comments, throwing me as a Ricky Ricardo.
He did that on purpose to try to get you to keep talking.
No, I mean, I had read the email already. I knew it. I knew what was coming. I'm not going to fucking read an email. I'm not going to post an email. But I wanted to address it because I give everybody a voice, left or right. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, look, he went straight. I love your charisma, how you slaughter the English language. He's a lefty. He's already criticizing me on the way I speak. What? Apparently, I'm Hispanic. Yes, that's how we talk. I am Hispanic. You're right. So, buddy, and I'm from Miami. We have a unique accent in Miami as well. So, yeah, you are probably right now pulling your hairs because you sent me this email and didn't realize, damn it, Saturday they voted him in. But again, it's one of those.
Come on, man.
The reality is you're butthurt right now, my friend. Trump, once again, he's 2-0. You guys can't even impeach the man and fucking convict him. You guys are a joke. Even when you have control of the Senate. You can keep trying. It's not going to happen. So Q, anything else down the grapevine with the Q community? You got to put the good and the bad, man. I mean, you're going to receive these emails. You're going to receive these emails, and some of them you're not going to like. You know what I mean? Some you will like. It just is what it is. I mean,
I heard that Bars and Sessions is still with Trump.
That what?
Attorney General Barr.
What about him?
I heard he's not a traitor. I heard he's actually still with Trump and Sessions too.
Yeah, that's why Trump ran a campaign against him and took him out of office.
See, what you got to say about Trump is he's very calculated. You think about it. It's just exactly what he explained when it comes to art of war. You make your enemy think that you're weak when you're strong. You're strong when you're weak. And I would not put it past them. Acting like these people are against them and they're not. Maybe so nobody goes after them. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but that's what I heard, and it's pretty good source. So
yeah, pretty good source. All your sources are good.
Well, they're facts. So
they're not fucking facts. Stop saying they're facts.
They're facts in my book, and in your book, no, because you don't see the proof. I do. So.
Well, listen, I got a good meme that I saw, and I had to share it on. You guys can follow me, of course, at a Republican podcast on Facebook, or you can follow me on Instagram, The Republican Nation. But this is a good one. So there's a meme where they have Trump on a cell phone and Nancy Pelosi on a cell phone, right? And it goes, "Hey Nancy, it's Owen," and then she writes, "Owen who? Owen 2." You get it, right? Yeah. They can't catch a break. Look, you guys, look. Trump's legal team played them so well. I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting there and I thought to myself, "Oh shit, he's got the worst legal team on earth." I was like, "Oh my god!" But when these guys came back, I was like, "Ooh, woo!" They destroyed him. And look and listen to this man. Listen to this attorney, how he destroys the mainstream media. You've got to listen to this. And then we'll do our closing statements for the day or whatever. But you've got to listen to this man. This man is incredible. This is former President Trump's attorney, and how he reacted to the not guilty verdict on the incitement of insurrection.
Now that is a flashlight, and this flashlight.
That's not what he reacted like. Hold on 1 second. Here we go.
Joining me now is former President Trump's attorney, Michael Vanderveen. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Let's get right into those words that we heard from Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. He ended the trial with this passionate speech about President Trump's involvement in the insurrection. During it, he said that the former president is still liable for everything he did during his period in office. Are you expecting to face more charges against Mr. Trump in the near future, and do you anticipate being part of that defense?
No, that's just political rhetoric, and I was hopeful that something would come out of this, that the political rhetoric would stop out of Washington, D.C., but I guess apparently it hasn't.
Were you, though, surprised to hear those words coming from the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate?
I'm not surprised to hear a politician say anything at all. No.
Well, throughout the trial, you denied that Mr. Trump had a role in inciting the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. You argued, first of all, that there was no insurrection, but during your closing arguments, you seemingly admitted that there was, in fact, an insurrection, using that word, saying that was not up for debate. What role did the former president play?
You didn't understand the case. I used the word.
I'll give you the opportunity to clarify, sir.
Sure. I used the word insurrection in my closing argument when quoting the charging documents. What happened at the Capitol on January 6th is absolutely horrific. But what happened at the Capitol during this trial was not too far away from that.
This is a wise man.
Prosecutors in this case doctored evidence. They did not investigate this case, and when they had to come to the court of the Senate to put their case on, because they hadn't done any investigation, they doctored evidence. It was absolutely shocking, I think, when we discovered it and we were able to expose it and put it out. I think it turned a lot of senators. The American people should not be putting up with this. They need to look at who who these house managers were and look to see whether these are the folks they want representing them. It was shocking to me. Wouldn't have believed it.
Let's follow up with a point that you're making right now about the House managers, as you say, doctoring
This is when
evidence.
he snaps.
And the argument,
they didn't deny
for
it.
our viewers,
they didn't deny it. I put it in front of them 3 times.
To be clear for our viewers, what you're talking about now is a check mark. That's a verification on Twitter that did not exist on that particular tweet. A 2020 that should have actually read 2021, and the selective editing, you say, of the tapes. Is that how? Is that the doctored evidence of what you're speaking?
That's not enough for you? That's not enough for you?
No,
wait. No,
sir,
no.
I'm not a juror in this trial. What I'm trying to be clear for our viewers is what you're referring to, because not everybody has been following.
It's not okay.
No, not everybody.
To doctor
sir,
a little bit of evidence. Respectfully.
I have not said it is.
Just so you guys understand, he's ripping this news reporter's ass. This is CBS. She's apparently thinking that doctoring a little bit of evidence is not a big deal. She's trying to justify the House managers basically doctoring evidence in an impeachment case.
I have not said it is okay.
Ma'am, your question is
I want to be clear for our viewers.
Listen, what
I
has
want to be clear for our viewers about what exactly you're saying when you say doctored evidence.
The media has to start telling the right story in this country. The media is trying to divide this country. You are bloodthirsty for ratings, and as such, you're asking questions now that are already set up with a fact pattern. I can't believe you would ask me a question indicating that it's all right just to doctor a little bit of evidence. There's more stuff that we uncovered that they doctored, to be frank with you, and perhaps that will come out one day. But we won this case. And I'm not a sore loser, but what happened, or a sore winner, I should say, but what should happen is somebody should look at the conduct of these House managers. It's unconscionable, aside from all of the due process violations that my client had. And the media should be looking at a square, straight way. The straight way. When I watch the news, I watch one station and it's raining. I watch another station at the same time and it's sunny. Your coverage is so slanted, it's got to stop. You guys have to stop and start reporting more like PBS does rather than a TV news show that doesn't have any journalistic integrity at all. What I'm telling you is that they doctored evidence. And I believe your question says, well, it's only a Twitter check and changing a year of a date here. They switched the date of a Twitter a year to try to connect it to this case. That's not a small thing, ma'am. The other thing they did is they put a check mark on something to make it look like it was a validated account when it wasn't. And when they were caught, they didn't say anything about it. They didn't even try to come up with an excuse about it. And that's not the way our prosecutors or our government officials should be conducting themselves. And the media shouldn't be letting them get away with it either. I'm tired of the biased media on both sides, left and right. What this country wants, what this country needs, is this country to come together, to take the left and the right and find a middle ground and start responsibly being our public officials, our elected officials. And one of the reasons why they do it is because of the media, because the media wants to tell their narrative rather than just telling it like it is. And frankly, I'm tired of it. I'm not a media. I'm not in front of your cameras all the time. But what I've been subjected to this last week.
I understand, and I've given you the opportunity. You don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah. Okay.
I've given you the opportunity. I will remind you that what I said was that for our viewers who have not been following all of the hours of this trial, to be clear about what you are speaking about. And I understand
I'm speaking about the House managers' failure to prove their case. That's what I'm telling you. They weren't able to prove their case.
Acquittal You have won the acquittal of your client.
Yes,
and if you'd
I
like
did.
to continue to talk about this conversation, we can have that discussion.
I don't need to.
But for me to ask a question,
A slanted question that was set up to say it's okay for them to cheat. That was your question. Isn't it okay for them to cheat?
I didn't say
just
that.
A little bit. You said, to be fair, it was only
fine.
a check on the Twitter. That's what you said. You got to live by your word. That's the problem. The media has to start living by the truth and not try to create a narrative.
Michael Van Der Veen.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. I do appreciate.
Yeah.
Okay. I see you taking off.
That was a great moment. He took off his headset and he goes, his microphone. He was like, "Yeah, Mike Vander, a citizen." That's it. He said it how it was, ladies and gentlemen. This is what is going on in this country. This man is a hero. This man is not part of Trump's agenda, part of anything. He was a man that decided to defend Donald J. Trump. And because of that, for those of you who don't know, they graffitied his house. They threatened his law firm. They threatened his way of life. That's what the left does. And this is supposed to be the righteous party, the party of the people. They're not the party of the people. They're the party. They're the party of division. They're the party of chaos. They love everything that's going on right now. They're the party that wants to see Americans turning on each other because they gain power from it. It's disgusting. It's sad. And it's un-American. Dr. Q, would you like to say anything before we end this show?
Yeah. Again, be prepared. It's coming. I heard that 85% of the Congress are going to be executed for treason.
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I also heard that it's going to be televised. Is that crazy or what?
Come on, man.
I listen. I understand it. I don't believe it, but I'm just telling your listeners what I heard. That's all I'm saying.
We're in the twilight zone.
Every Congress that went against went with the certifications is has treason.
Q, start saving the money that you're gonna owe me come March, because you're gonna lose all your bets. Every single one of them.
You listen to what I'm saying?
I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm not following it, and again, I think it's ridiculous. And I want all my listeners out there to understand this is not gonna happen. This is a pipe dream. This is not gonna happen. Do you honestly think? I'm telling you, you have no proof.
I do have proof.
What's your proof?
I have proof. That's all. That's all you have to know.
That's all I have to know. The one that's making the claims that can't prove his claims.
I got proof from numerous just different websites I go to find my information.
Different websites.
Not just one. Hey, Jay, I don't get my information just one. I get it. I mean, just when you're involved in this whole thing for years, you just have the right sites. You know what's happening, what's not. You know. If you were to tell me you had somebody within the CIA that's feeding you information, I might be able to buy that. And even then, your shit's so far-fetched that it's hard to even believe that. But for you to tell me that you have several websites that you've been through, again, guys, keep in mind, this is the guy that didn't watch the Mike Lindell video. This is also the guy that showed me a picture that says that Trump went through time traveled in a picture of a movie that Nicolas Cage was in. This is also a guy that showed me a diagram of how it looks, and it's the same exact diagram that they used in the Nicolas Cage movie once again. This is the same guy that lost a $2,000 bet with me because he thought something big was going to happen that weekend and that Joe Biden would not be inaugurated. Check. Got those $2,000. He paid. This is the same guy that thinks there's reptilians living amongst us, a race of reptilians. Who are you going to believe?
A guy that sits and does this all day long, such as myself, that I sit and research and I look at all the articles from local newspapers to bloggers to the mainstream media.
All you get.
What's that?
That's where you hear information. Mainstream media. That's it.
That's not true. I look at the Fort Myers Times. I look at every single newspaper that I possibly can, even the New Hampshire. Before I even mention the swayed, because I was looking at the local newspapers in New Hampshire to make sure that I was correct on what I was reporting. Not that I'm a reporter or anything. I'm really just an opinionated asshole that just loves politics. But that being said, I mean, I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about, just a tad.
I'm not saying. Oh, I'm just saying you get most of your information from mainstream media.
I don't even watch Fox News anymore. I mean, I don't even watch the news anymore. I try to look it up on the internet and I try to find editors and articles. There's certain editors that I follow that are digging. Just like there's editors that are digging into the whole QAnon thing. I've both on the right and left, and I've checked them out, man. And you guys have the same exact story, and all of you are talking about the same exact shit. It's not like anything unique. Like everything you are telling me, I've heard it or I've seen it. The JFK thing's been going on forever.
Jay, that's what the Q community is about. It's about digital intelligence. It's about giving the facts out to people so they wake up.
This is what I think. I think the Q community is a community that gives out the bullshit. The shit that people want to hear. Mm-hmm. And the Republican Nation is a community that gives people a voice. And I will be as reasonable. I will always, Dr. Q's my friend. Aside from whatever he believes politically, if nothing happens, and if I'm right, I'm going to brag about it. But if I am right, I'm still going to be his friend. Nothing's going to change. Me and him have known each other for years and years and years. He's a very good friend of mine. That being said, if nothing changes, it's not going to change anything. I mean, again, I do this because I love doing this. I love talking politics. It's always been a passion of mine. And I'm a strong believer in the Republican Party, and it's always been the party I've stood by. Even though it's let me down in the last year or so, I've been let down by my own party. I won't turn my back on it because I wouldn't turn my back on Abe Lincoln, Ronald Reagan, and a lot of great presidents that we've had and senators under the Republican Party. And I feel like there's still a lot of hope in this party. And I mean, I just don't want people to be over optimistic. I don't want people to start thinking something's going to happen when it's not. I believe, yes, Trump has made statements that the best is yet to come. He's planning on running again. He's plotting something. He's definitely creating something. He's in the works of changing this country for the better. I don't know what he's up to. He might be creating his own news network. He might be creating his own social media platform. He might be changing this in a way that we wouldn't even imagine, where we could freely speak and we won't be censored, where our First Amendment rights are actually respected. But aside from that, anything that Q says, give him the voice, but I don't believe it. I mean, there's some things I can believe with him, like we agree a lot on the election fraud. But when he starts going off the rails like this, I don't know what to tell him. The only thing I can tell you guys, though, I am getting a lot of orders, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for the love and support. We're growing. We're growing without a doubt. We're growing. You guys have no idea the viewership. We've hit a giant threshold. I'm not allowed to really give out the numbers or whatever, but we've hit a giant threshold that you can't even believe all across the country. And I am so grateful because you guys are the ones that make this happen. Because you guys are the ones that are letting your friends know about the Republican Nation. You're letting everybody know about my podcast, our podcast. You're letting everybody know of everything that's going on and what I'm trying to represent. And a lot of you are showing me so much support. You're going to the store, you're purchasing items. If you guys want to show support, I don't ask for handouts. I sell merchandise on our website, therepublicannation.store. That's the republicannation.store. And again, if you want your voice to be heard, just send me. I get a lot of emails. I randomly picked them. I knew that person that I was talking to, that I was responding to, was most likely a lefty. But I wanted to respond to it. I was going to try to go into his own email, but it was just too many questions. It was going to occupy too much time. But yeah, you can always email Dr. Q if you want health advice. He's not a professional health advisor or anything like that, but he knows a lot about it. You can email him at drq@therepublicannation.com. You can always email me at Jase, Jase, at therepublicannation.com. And if you want to swing by and show some love and support and swing by our store, it's therepublicannation.store. Dr. Q, do you want to end it with anything else?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You're good. Thank you. Right?
Guys, keep your head up. Get prepared. It's coming. More than ever. I think we're definitely finished with everything that was supposed to be taken care of in regards to these bad actors. And there might be very little left. That's about it. And I think, the hurrah's coming. So.
Yep. Me cashing in the checks that he's writing for me. Hoorah! All right, guys. God bless you. God bless your families. And God bless this beautiful country we call America.
We will make America great again.